Your support matters. With 90% of our viewers yet to subscribe, we need your help to keep creating engaging content. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Let us know where you're watching from. Leave your city in the comments below. After our talk, Daniel started sleeping in the guest room. He said he needed space, and I didn't fight him. I wanted to. I wanted to run after him, cry in his arms, beg for forgiveness. But I knew I had no right to ask for comfort from the man I had broken. So I let him go. Night after night, I lay in our bed alone, staring at the ceiling, listening to the soft creak of floorboards when he walked past in the hallway. I missed him so deeply that it felt like drowning, slow and silent, with no one noticing. I kept the house running. I made breakfast, packed lunches, cleaned, smiled at the kids. I played the part of the mother, the woman who held it all together. But inside, everything had come apart. Every glance from Daniel, every silence, reminded me of the distance I had created between us. Some days, he would speak to me briefly, politely. Other days, he couldn't look at me. I understood. I didn't deserve his kindness. Still, I craved it like water. I missed his voice in the mornings, his warmth in bed, the way he used to reach for my hand when we crossed the street. Now his hands stayed firmly at his sides. I stopped going to family gatherings. I told them I was sick, tired, busy. I couldn't bear to see Ethan or pretend I was the same woman I had always been. Because I wasn't. I had done something that changed everything, and no matter how much I wanted to, I couldn't go back. One morning, Daniel and I found ourselves in the kitchen at the same time. He was pouring coffee. I reached for a mug. "Morning," I said softly. He nodded. "Morning." The silence lingered, stretching too long. I watched him stir his cup. "I still make yours the same," he said without looking at me. "Just in case." The words hit me like a punch to the chest. I closed my eyes for a moment, holding back tears. "Thank you," I whispered. That small moment stayed with me all day. I replayed it again and again, his quiet act of remembering, his soft admission. Maybe it meant something. Maybe he hadn't stopped caring. Or maybe habit is a hard thing to kill. Later that week, I found him in the garage, fixing an old shelf. He looked tired, the shadows under his eyes darker than I remembered. I stood at the door, uncertain. "Can I help?" I asked. He looked up, surprised. Then he shrugged. "Sure. Hold this." I stepped in, holding the board steady as he drilled the screws. Our hands brushed once. He flinched. I pretended I didn't notice. "I miss you," I said quietly. He didn't respond. He just tightened the last screw and stepped back. "I don't know how to trust you again," he said finally. "Every time I look at you, I wonder if you're still thinking of him." "I'm not," I said. "I only think about us." He looked at me for a long time. Then he walked past me, leaving the shelf unfinished. That night, I cried for hours. The guilt never eased. I wanted to take it all back, the stolen moments, the selfish choices. But I couldn't. The only thing I could do was keep showing up. Keep loving him, even if he couldn't love me back yet. Weeks passed. The first snowfall came early. The house looked softer under the quiet white blanket, like it, too, wanted to be forgiven. One evening, I found Daniel sitting in the living room, watching the snow fall. He looked older than I remembered, tired, distant. I sat beside him without asking. "I know I broke something precious," I said. "But if there's even a small part of you that still wants to try, I'm here. I'll wait, as long as it takes." He didn't speak, but after a moment, he reached for my hand. It was a small gesture, but it held everything: hope, pain, love, and maybe, just maybe, the beginning of a way back. The room was quiet. Only the soft hum of the heater filled the space. Daniel's hand was still in mine. I didn't speak. I didn't move. I was afraid that if I breathed too hard, he would pull away. But he didn't. His fingers stayed there. Cold at first. Then, slowly, they warmed. And that warmth moved through me like a wave. My heart began to beat faster. Not with excitement, but with fear. Fear of hope. Because hope was dangerous. It made me imagine things I didn't deserve. Like forgiveness. Daniel looked out the window. His eyes were glassy, distant, but I saw pain in them. He cleared his throat. I never thought we'd end up here, he said. His voice was low, like it hurt to speak. I know, I whispered. I looked down at our hands. Still touching. Still fragile. You were my home, he said. I felt the tears rise. Because I had been. Once. And now, he continued, I don't know where I am. I looked at him then. Fully. His face looked tired. His eyes red. I want to be your home again, I said. I don't know how, I admitted. But I want to learn. He didn't answer. Not with words. But his thumb moved. Just a little. Across my hand. I still dream about us, he said. A single tear fell from his eye. I dream we're laughing. In the kitchen. My chest tightened. I remembered those days too. The small things. The easy joy. I'm sorry, I whispered. Again. For the 100th time. I will never stop being sorry. He closed his eyes. I don't want to hate you, he said. I want to come back. But I don't know if I can. I'll wait, I said. I'll wait as long as you need. Even if it takes forever, I thought. Silence returned. But it felt different now. Not cold. Not empty. We just sat there. Hands touching. Hearts broken, but trying. And maybe that was enough for now. Not a promise, but a beginning. The next morning, the house was quiet again. No yelling. No crying. Just silence. But it didn't feel empty this time. I made tea. Not because I wanted to, but because I used to. The sound of the kettle was soft. The smell of chamomile filled the kitchen. And for a moment, I closed my eyes. I remembered Daniel laughing, years ago. Barefoot, messy hair, holding 2 mugs. We were younger. Lighter. He walked in slowly. Still quiet. Still unsure. But he looked at me. And didn't turn away. I made tea, I said. My voice was gentle. Careful. Like it might break if I spoke too loud. He nodded. His eyes were tired. But he sat down. I placed the mug in front of him. Our fingers brushed. Just a second. He held the mug like it was something precious. Something that could warm more than just hands. I sat across from him. We didn't say much. We just drank. Sip after sip. But something was happening. Small. Invisible maybe. But real. I don't know how to stop hurting, he said. His voice cracked. And my heart cracked with it. I don't know either, I said. And I meant it. I wasn't trying to fix it anymore. I just know I want to try, I added. He looked down at his hands. They were shaking a little. I loved you so much, he whispered. I still do. But it's messy now. His eyes filled with tears. I know, I said again. I feel that mess too. And I reached across the table. This time, he let me hold his hand. He didn't pull away. He just held on. Not tightly. Not with certainty. But gently. Like a person holding something broken, afraid to press too hard. I want to know who we are now, he said. Not who we were before. And that sentence wrapped around my soul. Then let's find out, I whispered. Little by little. Day by day. Even if we're scared. The light outside the window was soft. It hit the table between us like hope. Quiet. Fragile. New. And for the first time in a long time, we sat there in the silence. Not as strangers. But as 2 people. Who still had love. Underneath the ruins. That night, the quiet stayed between us. But it wasn't cold anymore. It felt like something waiting to be held. We moved through the house slowly. Like it wasn't just a place, but a memory. A place full of both wounds and warmth. He stood at the doorway of our bedroom. Like he wasn't sure if he still belonged. And I understood that look in his eyes. So I didn't say anything. I just walked over to him. Close enough to feel his breath. His fingers brushed mine again. That small touch made something ache inside me. Not pain. Just need. Not for escape, but for closeness. For something soft and human. I looked up at him, and I saw all the tiredness, the regret, the longing. There was a time when we touched with fire. Now it was with gentleness. Like every inch of skin remembered what it once meant. He reached for me. Slowly, and I let him. Because this wasn't about desire. It was about needing to be seen. To be held in all the pieces we'd become. And maybe start sewing something back together. His arms wrapped around me. And for a moment, we just stood there. Pressed together. Breathing. No words. No promises. Just the warmth of two broken people. Trying not to fall apart again. When his lips touched mine, it wasn't like before. It was softer. Slower. He kissed me like I was something fragile. Like he wasn't sure I'd stay. And that made it more real than ever. We lay down together, fully clothed. Not out of shame, but because the closeness was enough. His hand rested on my waist. Not to take. Not to claim. But to simply be there. We whispered nothing. Just let the silence speak. Our bodies remembered each other. But even more, our hearts remembered. The rhythm. The breath. The ache of wanting to heal. His forehead pressed against mine. He exhaled. And I felt it, that tiny crack of peace. I'm scared, he said. Me too, I whispered back. But neither of us moved away. We stayed like that for hours. Skin to skin, but not for pleasure. For comfort. For closeness. And when sleep came, it wasn't lonely. It was shared. A beginning. Quiet. Honest. Held inside the slow, aching light of healing. The morning light came in soft. It touched the edge of the bed. Like it was careful not to wake us. I opened my eyes slowly. His arm was still around me. And for the first time in a long while, I didn't feel alone. He was awake too. But he didn't say anything, just looked at me with quiet eyes. We didn't need words. The silence between us felt warm. Like it understood everything we couldn't say. I reached for his hand. He held mine gently. Like it was something precious. There was no rush. No need to fix everything right away. Just this moment. He brushed a strand of hair from my face. I closed my eyes. It felt safe. We got out of bed slowly. Made coffee like we used to. But even that felt different now. The way he handed me the cup. Like he remembered what I liked. Milk first. Then sugar. That small thing made my throat ache. He sat across from me at the table. Our hands met again. Resting between us. We didn't talk about the past. It still hurt too much. But in that quiet, we were saying, I'm here. I still care. I looked at his face. There were more lines now. But something in his eyes was softer. Humbled. Honest. I missed you, I whispered. He swallowed hard. I never stopped missing you, he said. Tears filled my eyes. Not from pain, but from being seen. Really seen. He stood up and walked to me. Knelt down beside my chair. Held my face in his hands. I hurt you, he said. His voice broke. I know. And I'm sorry. I nodded. Because sorry didn't fix everything. But it was a start. I leaned into his hands. Closed my eyes. Let myself feel his warmth. We were two people. Still healing. Still learning how to love again. And that morning, with trembling hearts, we chose to stay. To keep trying. Even if it took time. Even if it wasn't perfect. Because love, real love, isn't loud or fast. It's quiet. Patient. It waits for you to come back home. The rain started quietly that afternoon. We sat by the window, watching it fall. It reminded me of all the days I cried alone, wondering if he ever thought of me. He looked at me, his hand warm on mine. I remember those days too, he said. I nodded. We didn't need to go back, but we both carried pieces of it still. I was scared, I whispered. Scared I'd never feel anything again. He took a deep breath. So was I, he said softly. I walked around pretending I was fine. But I wasn't. There was so much we hadn't said. Not out of pride, but because the words hurt. We stayed in that quiet room, letting the soft sound of rain be our comfort. He reached out, touched the inside of my wrist, his fingers gentle, slow. That small touch, it wasn't about desire. It was about memory, about closeness. I leaned toward him, rested my head on his shoulder. It felt like something I used to do a long time ago. He didn't move, didn't speak. He just let me be there. I'm not whole yet, I whispered. I don't know if I'll ever be. He kissed the top of my head. You don't have to be whole. Not for me. Those words made something break inside me. Not in a painful way, but in a way that let light in. We stayed like that for what felt like hours. Two people, learning how to be soft again. Later, he made dinner. Nothing fancy, just warm soup and bread. We ate quietly, our knees touching under the table. It felt like something real, like a promise without words. After dinner, he reached for my hand again. Come with me, he said. We went outside. The rain had stopped. The air was clean and cool. He pulled me into his arms. We didn't dance, but we stood there, just holding each other under the sky. I'm still learning how to love you right, he said. His voice cracked. I pressed my face to his chest. I'm still learning how to let you. And under the quiet sky, with broken hearts slowly mending, we stood still, not because we were fixed, but because we were trying. Trying was enough for now. The night grew deeper. The stars began to show. He held me a little tighter, as if he was afraid to let go. I used to dream of this, he whispered. Of you beside me. Quiet. Breathing. I looked up at him. His eyes held something fragile, like a boy who had waited too long to be held. I touched his cheek. You're not alone anymore, I said. The wind moved through the trees. A soft hush like a lullaby. We stayed like that, breathing the same air, holding pieces of each other. We walked back inside. Still quiet, but it was a peaceful kind. He took my hand, and we sat on the couch together. The old blanket wrapped around us. My head rested on his chest. I could hear his heart. Slow, steady, real. I'm sorry for all the time we lost, I said. He held me closer. We're here now. I closed my eyes. His fingers traced slow circles on the back of my hand. No rush, no pressure, just presence. It was not about fixing each other. It was about staying. Through the ache. Through the quiet. He kissed my forehead. It felt like a promise. Not of perfection, but of staying. We talked until the moon was high. About little things. About nothing. About everything. I told him about the nights. I cried into my pillow, thinking love was something I would never feel again. He listened, didn't interrupt, just let me speak. When my voice shook, he squeezed my hand, not to stop the pain, but to hold me through it. That night, we fell asleep on the couch, our fingers still gently tangled. Healing doesn't come all at once. It comes in moments like these, soft, slow, and full of truth. And for the first time in years, I didn't dream of running. I dreamed of staying. The morning light touched the edge of the couch, soft and golden. I woke slowly, warm beneath the blanket. Warmer still beneath his arm. He was already awake, watching me, eyes gentle as if seeing something sacred. Did you sleep? I asked, voice hushed. He nodded. Best in a long time. His fingers brushed my hair from my face. There was no urgency, only care. I sat up slightly, but I didn't move far. I didn't want distance. Not now. Not after the night we shared. There was a quiet pull between us. Not just of want, but of trust. He reached for my hand, and I let him, because something inside me felt safe now. Not healed, but safer. His touch was tender, slow like a memory you don't want to end. When he leaned in, his lips barely touched mine at first. A breath, a whisper, an asking. I kissed him back, and the world fell quiet again. We didn't rush. Everything between us was careful, as if we were both afraid to break the moment. He held me with both arms, like he was holding something that mattered. And I let myself be held. My fingers traced his shoulder, learning him gently, as if every inch of his skin had a story he had never told. When he touched me, it wasn't to claim or take. It was to comfort, to say, I see you. I want you whole. I'll stay. Clothes fell away like silence after grief, not to uncover, but to reveal every inch of me that he saw. He honored every breath I took. He waited for. He kissed my chest like it held sorrow, like it held years of waiting, and maybe it did. When we came together, it wasn't just bodies meeting. It was hearts pressing close, wounds touching wounds. It was not wild. It was slow, tearful, beautiful. He looked into my eyes the whole time, as if he wanted to memorize the woman I had become. And I let him, because something in me knew. This wasn't just about need. It was about being seen, held, and gently loved, in the place where pain had once lived. Afterward, we didn't speak right away. We stayed wrapped in each other, quiet, whole in a way that had nothing to do with fixing. He touched my face. You feel like home, he said. I buried my face into his shoulder, tears coming without fear, because he didn't run. He didn't turn away. He held me as I cried, held me like healing was allowed to be slow, held me like I was enough. And in that moment, I began to believe it too. Now answer me in the comments, I will be reading. And if you haven't already hit like, subscribe, can tap the notification bell so you never miss what comes next. Thanks for being here and making this channel possible.